What is up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. I know it's been a while since I posted anything or uploaded any videos, and that's because I've been sick. I actually did get COVID and been pretty much for the last 3 weeks kind of laid out, and today is probably about 4 days in and I'm feeling a heck of a lot better. The breathing is still a pain to do, basically, where if I do any activities, I lose my breath really quick and I get tired very easily. And that's because at the same time I got COVID, I ended up getting a pneumonia, and that's from the actual me being sick from COVID. COVID pretty much gave me the pneumonia, and that's pretty much why I haven't posted anything up recently on anything on Instagram or even on Facebook or even YouTube, and because of course I've been sick. But I'm feeling a lot better. So if you guys are wondering why I haven't posted, that's the reason. That thing is no joke. Please wear your mask, wash your hands, it'll help a lot. Just saying. Anyways, so today's video, I'm gonna get right into this thing here, is gonna be on the 4runner. So as you guys know, I bought this 4runner. I got 2 videos on it already, a interior detail video and of course a exterior wash video on it. But I've been trying to upgrade these lights, and finally this headlight on this side finally went out, and I thought this was the first perfect time to actually do this. I'm gonna be upgrading the headlights themselves. I got the new ones right in here, and they're nothing special. It's just a regular OEM replacement light, but it doesn't have, it's, of course you can see, a lot clearer. Doesn't have that yellow tint to it, of course, and that's because car is a 2003 and the lights more likely are original. I mean, they're not bad. I did kind of clean them and buff them out a little bit, but still, you still got areas here, all up here that are all kind of faded. And I want to kind of bring the exterior of the car back to life. On top of that, I'm going to be upgrading the actual bulbs themselves. I'm going to be upgrading those bulbs to a set of LED headlights, and it's going to be the high beam, the low beam, as well as the fog light. Now these right here, actually, I'm going to post, I actually will have the link down below in the description. But I decided to try these Cougar bulbs. I've heard very good things about these. Now normally I like to use fairing bulbs. I used it on a wife's Pathfinder. I used it on the Trailblazer that I had, and a bunch of little kids playing outside. Well, at least they're not at home in iPads. But anyways, basically I saw these Cougars and they got a lot better ratings than the fairing bulbs that I had actually used on the Pathfinder and the Trailblazer. So I'll have a link for these, and as well today we're going to be upgrading the interior bulbs. So we're going to be doing an upgrade on the map lights or the reading lamps here, there, and on this vehicle, most of you guys that own one of these know that they have them on the doors here. We're going to be doing the one on the tailgate, and we're going to be doing the reverse lights. Now, I'm not doing the turn signals because no matter how many times I've actually bought turn signals that have whatever chip in it, so you won't have that hyper flash or anything like that, I've always gotten a hyper flash. Doesn't matter what car I put them on. So the turn signals I'm leaving alone. I'm actually just putting them, I'm upgrading them, or I already upgraded them to a Philips just extreme white bulb, but it's still an incandescent bulb. It's not an LED. So I'm just leaving those alone. Basically, my driving lights are gonna be the one that are getting upgraded. So that's the upgrade for today. Now I'm gonna show you guys how to do it. It is not actually it's not difficult. It's just 2 bolts that are very hard to kind of reach to, and then a stupid trim that Toyota has. So without any more talking, I'm gonna just go what I got. I'm gonna show you guys exactly what I'm gonna be installing and what you need to do this installation. All right, so to basically do this installation, you're going to need some kind of pliers or anything, some kind of grips like this. And this is, I'm gonna show you exactly where you're gonna be using this one. 10mm ratchet, some trim removal tools. If you want to use an actual 3/4 inch ratchet, you can go ahead and do this, or you can use just one of these with a 10mm socket. Basically, all the bolts that we're taking out are 10mm. You're gonna be using, these are the lights I like to use for interior. Now these LEDs, the Philips LED bulbs, are probably one of the best lights you could actually get for interior. You always have those lights you could buy on eBay. You know, you get like 10 for like $5, and they're like some kind of, you know, a bunch of little diodes on there. But these actually last longer. And I trust Philips. Actually, my entire house runs on Philips bulbs, on the smart bulbs that they have, or the Hue smart bulbs. So basically, everything I have here is all Philips, and I will have a link to every one of these bulbs on the description. Now, yes, they are a little more expensive than your average LED bulb with a bunch of little diodes, but again, they will last a lot longer and they look a lot better in my opinion. And of course, we have the actual bulbs, 9006s for this car. Headlights, or actually say the headlights and the fog lights and the high beams are the same. I only have the headlights and the fog lights here, but I am waiting on a package to get in today for the high beams as well. And that's pretty much what you're gonna need. So I will have all this stuff in the description below, exactly what you're gonna be using for this. And if you need to buy any of these things, I'll have the links below as well. All right, so with that being said, let's go ahead and get started on this thing. All right, so we got the hood up right now. I'm pretty much gonna show you exactly what we need to remove here. So for one, you're gonna need to remove this plastic trim piece here. So you gotta get all these little clips out of the way here. And then this trim piece here, which is kind of a pain in the butt to get out, but I'll show you guys how to do that as well. And since we're gonna be replacing the entire headlight assembly, you know, if you had to replace the bulbs, they're very simple to get to. They're right here, one's there for light bulbs themselves. But we're replacing the entire headlight assembly. So you got one bolt right there. You're gonna have one underneath this trim piece here, one there, and then one back here once you remove this trim piece as well. Now, there is another one that is like right in this area here, right there. And that's why I have the wheels turned, because you're gonna have to get underneath the car to get to that one. And that's actually gonna be the first bolt that's gonna need to be removed to get everything else out. And of course, we're gonna have to get under the car to get this trim piece out of here. So let's go ahead and I'm gonna show you exactly what I'm talking about and how to get this trim piece out. Now, my suggestion is, if you need to, you can turn the wheels just to get a little bit more room down there, but you really don't need to. I mean, you can actually kind of reach up with it. A lot of people like to actually kind of remove these bolts from here to pull this out, but you don't really need to do that. I'm gonna show you exactly how to do it without removing all that and just basically getting up to the bolts themselves. So let's go ahead and get started on this, removing everything. All right, so coming on here, we're gonna have to remove 1, 2, normally there should be a third bolt here, but this one doesn't have it. So, all right, and we'll do the same thing to the other side. Just remove. Okay, so once that is removed underneath the car, you're gonna have to get to the bolt that's back here. It's a 10 millimeter. So I'm gonna go ahead and get that bolt out of there. Again, you wanna get these out of here first, just because it makes your life a lot simpler, because everything else we're gonna be doing is gonna be on top. So I'll go ahead and get that bolt out of there. All right, so next up, while we're under the car, look straight up. You see these small clips here? This is for the black plastic trim piece that goes from the driver to the passenger headlight. To remove this, you gotta grab your pliers, press on these clips, and then push up on the trim piece, and they should pop right out. And go ahead and do this to all of them. This will make this trim piece easier to remove from up top. All right, so once that is removed, once you get those clips popped out of there, you gotta just grab the trim tool piece removal here and kind of pry up on this corner. You can hear it popping. Don't worry, they won't break as long as you pull it straight up. There you go. And then of course you can see all the clips. These are the ones that were pushed from underneath. And these are the ones that we just pried out with the trim removal tool. So once that's out, now of course you got access to all your bolts. Pretty much we still have to remove this plastic piece. All right, so now once we got the 2 screws out of the bottom, now we're just gonna basically remove these plastic clips. Just put a screwdriver in here now. I've already removed these before, and some of these are broken, some of them are missing. But, you know, it's just a small screwdriver right in here. So these just come right off. They just pop right out of there. All right, well, so once you get that cover off again, you got access to every single one of the screws. One there, one here, and one there. You already got the bottom one off, so that's all that needs to be removed for this. So let's go ahead and get those out of there and get both headlights out. Now, of course, I don't think I have to tell you guys how to, once you get the headlight out, how to actually remove the bulbs. Just self-explanatory. Just twist them counterclockwise and the bulbs come right out. All right, real quick note, after you get all these screws out, there's a trim piece right down here that needs to be removed. That, of course, you got that screw out of there. So all you gotta do is pull forward and pull towards the opposite side. So you gotta pull towards basically the driver's side on this side being the passenger side. And that should disengage the trim piece. And then that comes out right there. All right, we'll keep going with this. All right, so now we got the headlights out. One quick thing is also, before you remove the headlights, one quick thing I will say, and I should have said this before, make sure that you mark where the headlights are aiming. Now, that was about 33.5 inches from the ground up where I have that tape there. And that's because when we put the new headlights on, you gotta have to aim those headlights properly so they're not too high or too low. So just make sure that you mark somewhere on the wall, wherever you're doing this, where these headlights are aiming. On mine, of course, one was burned out, so I kind of went off the reference of the other one, which should be in the exact same level. So make sure you mark off those headlights. Another thing is, while you're replacing the headlights itself right now, it's very easy to access the actual fog light bulbs, which are right down here. So before we put the new headlights on, we're gonna go ahead and replace those bulbs. Now with these new bulbs, it's all plug and play. And just now, as I kick the trim piece, just now, the Amazon guy just dropped off everything else I ordered. So here is the high beams, another set of 194s that I was missing, and yeah, I did get it, the Osmo 4. I needed it, I got it. So that's completely different video there. But, and then of course, this is gonna be another set of, I believe these are the 3175 for the cargo. So that's all the bulbs I'm gonna need to do this job here. So okay, let's go ahead and start taking out, of course, take the bulbs out. All you're gonna do is push down on this clip here and then pull out the bulb. Now all the bulbs on this car pretty much are 9006s. That goes for the high beam, the low beam, and the fog light. And then 194 is your little marker bulb. All right, well, of course I was about to prep the light to get it all ready for the passenger side, but of course, something had to go wrong. Now, when I got the lights, I only unboxed the driver's side to check it. Make sure it was good, which it is. But of course, now that I opened the passenger side up, I have the lenses broken on the inside here. Now again, these are made by Eagle Eyes. Eagle Eyes company, it's actually pretty good when it comes to aftermarket bulbs or lights. But, you know, maybe in the shipping or whatever, this light got damaged or bounced around the box probably, who knows. But that light came loose. So of course, I already requested a refund and exchange for this bulb here, or for this headlight. So I'm gonna actually install one light at this point, which is gonna be the driver's side, which is good. And then I'm gonna install the passenger side light. Now, you guys are gonna see me install this, but I'm not gonna show the end results until I get the light. And of course, with being YouTube and I can edit, that's very easy because once I get the light, I just install it and show you guys the end results. But anyways, let's go ahead and finish this whole job with one new one, one old one for now until I get the other light on. Then I'll install it and then you guys will see how it looks afterwards. So let's keep going with this installation and see how far it is. It is getting dark out there right now and I am losing light in the garage even though I have this light and that light, but it does get dark in here and harder for me to record when I'm in here and it's dark. So all right, so once you got that on, before we tighten and bolt everything down, let's turn the light on, make sure that it's working. All right, so we have LED working. All right, so the lights are working. Let's go ahead and hook this one up now. With this one, I'm not gonna reinstall everything, but I put the bolts up here only. I'm not gonna install this bolt down here for the simple fact that in the next few days, I'll be replacing it anyways. Oh yeah, before we go ahead and do that, let's go ahead and replace the fog light, which is going to be the one on the right side here. Pull that bulb out of here. All right, so with the fog light, I was kind of having an issue struggling with it, and it wouldn't fit the right way. Again, the diodes are supposed to fit at 3 o'clock and 9 o'clock. They're supposed to face, you know, pretty much at 3 and 9, so you get the right amount of light out of there. And every time I installed it, it ended up facing the opposite way that I needed them to face. So if you look at the actual bulbs here, you have, of course, these are the little prongs that go inside of the housing. Now, I did take out the, I had to take out, to show you guys a better view of this, the actual fog light housing out of there, but it wouldn't fit properly. So what I had to do on this one here is kind of trim them down. I kind of cut them in half, the actual little prongs there, and just used basically just a regular cutter just to cut them in half, just to get it to fit on properly, because if not, they were way too big in the way they were gonna fit. It does go in, but it goes in the wrong way. It actually ended up facing this way, which is basically 12 and 6, which is not supposed to face that way. It's supposed to face 3 and 9 when it's inside of the actual bulb here, or inside of the housing. So to get it to properly face, I had to cut those little prongs out, because there is no other way. Now, of course, when you're looking at a regular bulb, that could go any way, because the bulb itself is just a filament and the whole thing lights up. There's no which way it could go upside down, side to side, so it doesn't matter in this case. But in this case, it does matter, and you're gonna have to cut those little center, actually the bigger ones here, this one and this one, cut them in half, and it'll fit right in there. And I'm gonna show you guys right now what I'm talking about. So if you look at this, and you try to put this in here, this does fit a specific way only, just like that. And then it locks in. But now, the actual bulb is facing on an angle, and you're not supposed to be facing that way. So, to get it to properly fit, you gotta cut those off, and then you could insert it this way, and then it locks into place. And yeah, I cut my hand. And now, it's facing the right way. Again, you're putting it in like this, on an angle, just to get it to fit in there, and then turning it just enough. So, just gotta cut those little prongs a little bit, those little clips on there. Make sure you cut those clips off just halfway through there, and then that'll fit right in there. That's what I had to do to this one. So I'm gonna go ahead and reinstall this light on there, and it should be all good. All right, so we got the fog light in, headlights in, the little marker bulb is in on this one, and it's looking good. So now we're gonna go ahead and you can see the difference right there. Look at that fog light compared to this fog light. Kind of gives it a nice update to the vehicle. But all right, so I'm gonna only put on a few of the screws. I'll put in this one. This part right here was broken already on this, so that's why I was replacing the headlights anywhere. But I'm gonna put this screw here and the other 3 screws that go on there, and that's how that headlight's gonna stay. I'm not putting the one that's underneath there, because again, I have to wait for the other light. But same thing goes for this side. Just remember, for the fog light, cut the clips, the little clips in half, the bigger ones, and it should fit right in there. So I'm gonna go ahead and put that on, and then I'll be back once that one is installed. Fellas, so it's the next day now, and of course, yesterday I ended up doing, of course, we replaced the actual headlights, with the exception of the driver's side light, because that one was broken from the box when I took it out of the box. So that one's gonna be sent back, and I'm gonna get a replacement for that. But other than that, we replaced the actual bulbs. We replaced the halogen bulbs with the LED bulbs on the driving lights and on the fog lights. And again, I'm waiting on the high beams of 9005s, because I also messed up and ordered 9006s. But anyways, so now we have LED headlights, fog lights, and by the time this video is done and I'm done editing with it, you'll actually see the final results with the new headlight on and the high beams on and everything else. So in real time, it's gonna take a little bit, but you guys will see it in a few minutes here. But anyways, let's go ahead and get the interior lights replaced now. So we're gonna be replacing all the door lights, so all on the ones underneath here, on the driver's side, or passenger side to say, and both back ones, we're gonna be replacing both of the ones on the dome lights. on the reading maps and the one in the back of the trunk. And also we're going to be replacing the reverse bulbs on this one. The turn signal bulb I'm going to leave alone. Just the reverse bulbs, we're going to be replacing those. And we're probably going to be replacing also the license plate bulbs as well. So let's go ahead and get started on doing these. Now these are pretty simple to do. All you need for these are a pry tool, and I'm going to actually show you how to do it a lot quicker than just taking them all out and then replacing them. Alright, so for the door lights, they're fairly easy to do it. Actually, it's just basically a matter of prying them right out of here. You use, of course, the pry tool. And then just unplug it. Push that down there. And that's it. Now, of course, you still gotta remove the little capture, but it's easier when the whole thing is off. And then your bulb is right in there. And of course, we're gonna replace them with the Philips LED 194 bulbs. Now, one box does 2 doors. Just remember this. So one box will do 2 doors. So we're gonna pull the old bulb out of there. Put the new bulb in. Make sure it works. If it doesn't, just flip it around. There you go. Put the cap back on it. And that's it. And now we have an LED bulb. And we're gonna do the same thing for every one of the doors. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that, and I'm gonna show you guys the finished product when I'm done. All right, so now all the bulbs on the doors have been replaced. And that literally took me less than a minute to do. Just pop every single one of them out like I did with the driver's side door, and they all pretty much come right out. Replace the bulb, put it back in. Again, if the bulb doesn't work one way, flip it around. It usually works the other way. But there you go, all the bulbs are replaced. I actually have a slight clip or slide video at the end of everything that we did today. So next thing we're gonna do is gonna be these map lights right up here. And then of course, these dome lights as well. So let's go ahead and get those out. All right, so for these right here, it's gonna be a little bit different. You gotta be careful when you're trying to pull these out. You're gonna use the same trim removal tool, which is this one right here. And we're gonna go ahead and just pry. Now be careful, because these are very thin and can actually end up breaking these if you're not careful with them. Okay, when you pull them out, you want to be careful with those little prongs on there, because they're just made out of plastic and they could break very easily. Alright guys, so for the reading lights or the map lights or whatever you want to call those lights, so those ones right there, once you pull that plastic piece off, you can't really get to the bulb because it doesn't give you enough grip. So there's little metal plastic, kind of look like little basically reflectors are what they are. Pull one of the side off, which is basically the most accessible one, and bend that down. It is aluminum, so it'll bend slightly down and you'll be able to reach on it and then pull it out. That's how, if you saw what I just did, that's what I did. I bent them down, pull the bulb out, put the new bulb in, and that's it. And put them back on its spot and put the plastic covers back on. So that's how you do those. Next one is going to be the dome light right here. Now this one's actually pretty simple. There's not much to this one actually here. So we'll go ahead and get this one done, and then that back light, and then we'll work on the license plate bulbs. Those are the ones that are actually probably might be the worst ones, because they do have rust on them, on the actual screws. They gotta come out of there. I don't know if you get to see them, but we'll get to it in a bit here. All right, let's keep going with this. Let's go ahead and do those dome lights. All right, so for the dome lights, it's actually easy. This whole thing comes right down. You don't even need the pry tool. Comes exactly like that. You saw how I just pull the whole thing out. Let's turn the light off for a second here so we don't burn our hands. And then of course, you want to pull these out. Now be careful, because now these are hot right now. So kind of pop them out just like that. Find the other one. Alright, so when you're pulling these light bulbs out of here, it's very simple. Just push one of these back a little bit, mainly this one slides back, the bulb will fall right out. Of course, make sure you turn them off. Mine were on for quite a while the doors were all open here, so they were pretty hot. So just make sure you just turn them off, and then just push this back, the bulb will fall right out. And then we'll put in the new bulb, which these are the 3175 bulbs that go on here. So we'll go ahead and get that one. Alright. So now we're gonna go ahead, and first one I'm gonna do is, before I get even tackle the license plate bulbs, I'm gonna go ahead and do this dome light right here. Now this one hasn't been working, so I'm not sure what's going on with it, but it hasn't been working to begin with. I think the bulb is probably burned out, but we'll see what happens. Give me 1 second, I'm gonna go ahead and get my pry tool. Gotta open this little cap off here. Now I'm gonna be doing this while I'm holding the camera, of course, so bear with me here. Alright, so now that we got all that done, we're gonna go ahead and take care of these tail lights. They're actually just a reverse bulb. Now, I said earlier in the video that I gotta remove the light. That is not true. All you gotta do is come in here, and right in here, you have two little compartments. One here, and one on this side over here. You're gonna take a little pry tool, remove that out of the way, and right inside of there, show you here in the picture, there is a small little knob. You can see it right below the screw there, or the bolt right there. That's the actual bulb. So all you gotta do is reach in there and counterclockwise, just like every other bulb is. Alright guys, so I'm all done with this thing. So exterior headlights were replaced, the assembly, including the front bulbs, high beams and low beams, fog lights, all turned into LEDs. I will have the description to each one of them down below, which size they are, and a link to where you can get them at. And of course, we did all the interior bulbs as well: map lights, door lights, tail or dome light, and of course the backlight right here. And the reverse bulbs, like I said again, the only bulbs I couldn't do were the license plate bulbs, and that's because the screws are stripped. So once I actually looked at them, I knew they were rusty, but when I got a closer look at them, the screws are actually stripped. I can't get any grip on them, and to drill them out right now, I don't feel like doing it. It's getting cold out here now, and I want to basically just kind of finish up the car before it gets really cold. I still got to replace the speakers that suck on this car, but that's another day, and that's another video. But for now, it's pretty much done what I wanted to do. All the interior bulbs are done, and my driving lights are a lot better. I can see a lot better on the road. Of course, like I said, I'm waiting for the driver's side headlight to come in for replacement, because the one that came in was broken, so they're gonna be sending me in a few days. You guys will see that right now in the clips I showed you, the before and after clips. But again, if you guys did enjoy this video and got some information, go ahead and hit the like button. If you haven't done so and you want to, go ahead and hit the subscribe button as well. And then again, this is just for information purposes. If you guys have any tips or anything like that, let me know in the comments down below. Again, subscribe if you haven't done so. I'll see you guys on the next video. Take care.